Yeah, you can imagine it really is a mixture of both, both disbelief and grief tonight from people, and it really starts at the top from Governor Katie Hobbs, who is condemning what happened. Now, she posted this on social media. I think we have a graphic we can throw up there about what she was actually posting. If not, we can talk a little bit about that here. She says she was definitely horrified by the violent attack on Charlie Kirk. In a democracy, we resolve our disagreements at the ballot box. Now, also, Arizona House Republicans released a statement on X saying that we are shocked and deeply saddened to hear that Charlie Kirk was shot today while speaking in Utah. At this difficult moment, our thoughts are with him and his family. And also, in addition, Republican Congressman Eli Crane reposted several comments about Charlie Kirk, including this one from the House Oversight Committee that reads, "A patriot, a fighter, gone too soon. Rest in peace, Charlie." Also, Senator Mark Kelly gave us his thoughts on today's unfortunate event. Now, unfortunately, political violence is something he is all too familiar with, since his wife, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, was shot in the head during a political event in Tucson 14 years ago. Here's what Arizona's senior senator had to say.
It is, a horrendous thing to see, and it happens all too often. I'm thinking about him and his, family.
Now, Attorney General Chris Mays also stopped by our studio to give us her thoughts. Here's a portion of what she had to tell me.
As the top law enforcement official in Arizona, I can say it is shocking. It's horrific. It's deeply disturbing, and I hope that Utah officials hold this person, whoever did this, accountable fully under the law.
And again, as you can see, reaction coming from both sides of the political aisle right now, both expressing a lot of grief and really some disbelief, as here we are again with yet another political tragedy, another shooting we're dealing with.
And for folks who aren't familiar with Charlie Kirk, he was very good on social media as far as he would go viral. He would go to these colleges and he would he would spark debate among the college students, even the "prove me wrong" slogan there. So lay kind of the groundwork as far as who he was and how he used that social media platform.
And we'll be talking a little bit more about this later tonight. But Charlie Kirk is somebody I think you can look at, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that he was among, if not the most influential Republican in the state of Arizona. Now, you go all the way back to 2012. He helped co-found Turning Point USA. Now, this is an organization that is geared at trying to get young voters engaged in politics, and by all accounts, they did a really amazing job doing that. This is a party that, again, a group that, again, with Charlie Kirk, had an enormous amount of influence with the Republican Party, and some people would say it was even more powerful than the state Republican Party here. In terms, they had their own voter registration efforts that were largely successful. They were very successful with voter turnout on days of election. Extremely, important to the Republican Party, because remember, the Republican Party, typically known for the voters typically a little bit older than the average American. But what Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA was able to do was to get an injection of young voters and that energy and that enthusiasm into the Republican Party that is very important and has paid dividends for the Republican Party here in Arizona.
Let's talk about this political climate. We saw 2 attempts on President Trump's life, and now what happened here today with a death. How did we get here?
Well, and you also got to look at what happened at Donald Trump. It was a little over a year ago that happened. He was on the campaign stump, and somebody attempted to assassinate him. You've also seen some other incidences. Beyond that, we had an incident in Minnesota where a state lawmaker and her husband were assassinated. You had a governor in Pennsylvania where his home was set on fire. So these are situations, that are becoming all too common. I did ask the Attorney General about that. She expressed a lot of, grief, a lot of concern about these kinds of things that are happening. And she says, it is a concern from time to time when you're out there speaking as a politician now. You don't know who's going to show up to these things. And you're always trying to take those precautions. As far as how we got here, that's up for the scholars years from now. around, to come back and look and make determinations on that. I mean, you know, a lot of people I talk to, they have their answers. Some people will say, oh, it's social media, it's this, that, or the other thing. You know, the causes, I don't know. The question is, how do you move forward from this? That is what I'm hearing on the phone today, is how do we move forward on this?
And keep people safe. Everyone,
how to keep
everyone
safe.
safe.
And it's like, you know, I've heard a couple of times today, it's like, it's unfortunate it takes something like this to bring people from both sides together. As we were showing, you know, the response here is everybody's putting their, you know, their politics aside to express their grief on this tragedy. And again, a lot of what I'm hearing is, why does it take a situation like this for it to cool the temperature politically down and have people come together?
Well, you see that loss of life today and the hundreds of students running for their lives in
it's a
fear.
horrible. That's a horrible sight.
Fear.
I mean, not to mention, you know, the video that's out there that we aren't, you know, viewing. You know, I wouldn't recommend anybody go see that. But like, just to see those kids going out there for what? A political speech.
To learn, maybe.
You know, it's a political speech, whether you agree with it or not. It's America. It's what it's about. You go out there, you hear different ideas. You can agree with them or not. But, you know, this should not happen.
Yeah. Yep. Dennis, thank you.